Good morning, everyone. We from Group 6. Today we will present about the research methodology proposal for us. Our title is A Study on the Relationship Between Monthly Allowance and Total Amount Spent Shopping Online. Thank you.
My name is Koja Ing and my entry number is A2280598. I will present the Chapter 1 Introduction. The development of today's society have given the younger generation a huge convenience in consumption, especially in online shopping, which leads students become a main consumer groups. Therefore, this study will explore the relationship between monthly allowance and total amount spent shopping online with three independent variables, which are monthly allowance amount, frequencies of allowance distribution, and amount saved. Monthly allowance amount will affect total amount spent shopping online, such as more disposable income will lead higher chance of impulsive spending, and also will determine the scope of their online shopping transactions. Frequencies of allowance distribution will impact money management and spending control, which is, students with irregular or daily allowance might tend to have unstable saving and unpredictable spending behavior. Amount saved related to mental accounting and theory of planned behavior, which need to analyze how saving habits influence online shopping behavior. In overall, existing literature has limited research on spend shopping online among Malaysian students. Then, this study will aim to fill the gaps to such research. Next, research questions are: is there a relationship between monthly allowance and total amount spent shopping online? Is there a relationship between the frequencies of allowance distribution and total amount spent shopping online? And is there a relationship between the amount saved and the total amount spent shopping online? And the research objective will be to examine the relationship between these three independent variables and total amount spent shopping online. Next, research significance of this study are: exploring student online spending, which reveals student concept of online consumption, but also understand preference in online shopping. Understand student spending value, which will help society to guide student spending value. Cultivate student rational consumption through detailed research results and also accurately guide student concept of money and spending. And solve the potential impulse consumption problem of students with health-related personnel find more effective way to help students manage their money. And the last, the operational definition related in this study are: consumer behavior theory, theory of planned behavior, quantitative research, qualitative research, and measurement scale.
Hi, my name is Lozi and my matric number is A2280659. I will introduce the Chapter 2 Literature Review. A literature review summarizes, compares, and comments on the most relevant scholarly material. First, the underpinning theory, known as the theoretical foundation of this study, explore the main theoretical framework of the relationship between monthly allowance and student total amount spent shopping online. It also is the basic framework of interdisciplinary research, which helps us to understand complex phenomena and guides practical application. Moreover, we adopt the consumer behavior theory. It explains how people make purchasing decisions and points out that economy and social factors are important external stimuli that affect decision making. Additionally, we use the theory of plant behavior (TPB), which was developed by Eisen in 1991. The theory points out that behavioral attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control are important factors in predictive action intention. In summary, this study combines theory of psychology, economics, and consumer behavior to build a multi-theoretical framework. Through this integration, we can more fully understand how the monthly allowance affects student online shopping spending in different consumption scenarios. Next, I will introduce the dependent variable of this study. This study used the total amount spent shopping online as dependent variable to explore whether personal factors such as income, consumption habits, and lifestyle that affect the frequency and amount of online shopping by college students. In theory, we use the consumer behavior theory that consumer behavior is influenced by psychological, social and economic factor and compare it with the theory of planned behavior (TPB), which emphasizes the importance of attitude, subjective norm, and perceived behavioral control on behavioral intention. For example, when students think that online shopping is convenient, their friends are also using it, and they can easily buy it through their mobile, they are more likely to consume it. So, the factors provided in the theory of planned behavior are more applicable to this study. In terms of the key dispute, although there is a view that student consumption mainly comes from personal needs, in reality, students often find it difficult to distinguish between the necessary consumption and non-necessary consumption, and consumption behavior is highly subjective. Also, most existing studies focus on college and universities in the remote area of China and pay less attention to Malaysian college students. So, this study target students from University Malaysia Kelantan in the hope of gaining a more comprehensive understanding of the factor that affect total spending amount in online shopping and filling this research gap.
Hi, my name is Chua Chen Chen. Let's talk about our first independent variable, monthly allowance. It refers to the regular money students receive from their parents or guardians, which reflects their disposable income for daily spending. Based on the theory of planned behavior by MJ in 1991, this allowance affects student perceived financial control, shaping how they plan and act on spending decisions. A recent study by Todd and Chan in 2024 confirms that more allowance leads to more online shopping. Meanwhile, consumer behavior theory explained that students try to maximize utility under budget limit. However, Paulopi and his friend in 2023 found that too much allowance can reduce self-control, causing wasteful spending. So, the debate is spending habit driven by more by money or by myself. We believe that TBB gives a better explanation because it includes both economy and psychology factors. Past research mostly focused on the economy side. Our study at UMK fills this gap by combining both perspectives to better understand student online buying behavior. Let's go into our second variables, frequency of allowance distribution. This means how often students receive pocket money, for example, weekly, monthly, or irregularly. Based on the theory of planned behavior, regular allowance helps students feel more in control, allowing them to plan their online shopping better. But if it is irregularly, it reduces control and may lead to impulsive buying. A 2013 report from China also showed that students with consistent allowance frequency develop better financial habits. While consumer behavior theory looks at the money itself, TBV includes the psychological side, which gives us more complete picture. This study helps fill the gap by applying TBV to Malaysian students at UMK, connecting allowance frequency with online shopping behavior. Our third variable is the amount saved. We refer to the money student set aside for future use or emergency. According to the TBB, saving behavior is driven by strong intention, and this is can reduce unnecessary spending, especially on online shopping. JAMA in 2015 found that stronger the saving goal, the lower the spending on non-essential items. We also refer to mental accounting theory by Taylor, which explained that students mentally divide money into accounts, like saving, shopping, or food. More saving in one account may mean less spending in another, especially online. While mental accounting helps us understand money categorization, TBB gives a better explanation of how saving intention actually change behavior. This study will focus on analyzing the specific impact of amount of save on total amount spent shopping online of UMK to fill the knowledge gap in this regard. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Wong Chun Shen. My matrix number is 820800692. Now we are going to talk about Chapter 3 Research Design Methods. For our research design, we have adopted a framework that guides our study. First, regarding types of data, we are using both quantitative and qualitative data. Quantitative data is for measurable and countable information, like numerical values for spending, and qualitative data which provides explanations and insights into behaviors and motivations. We combine both of them together for a more complete picture. Next, our type of source is primary source. This means we collect our original data directly from our respondents. We are doing this through a questionnaire survey created using Google Forms and distributed to EMK students via WhatsApp group. For statistical analysis, We will apply descriptive statistics to summarize our data, correlation analysis to find relationships between variables, and regression analysis to predict outcomes. Our survey process involves collecting responses via Google Forms and then recording this data in Microsoft Excel. Finally, for analysis 2, we will use SPSS software to calculate our results, including correlations and regressions, and to perform various analyses like normality and reliability tests.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yawan. My number is 828 Today, I will present about the method and sources. Firstly, we have research instrument. It divided into five demographic, which include the personal documentations, dependence variable, total amount spent shopping online, which consists amount of monthly spending and type. Independence variable one, monthly allowance amount include amounts of monthly allowance and money value. Independence variable two, frequencies of allowance distribution, including frequencies of received allowance, insufficient balance, and financial plan. Independence variable 3, amount saved, including monthly saving, frequency, and benefit. Secondly, we have measurement scale. It divided into three, which is nominal scale, ordinal scale, and ratio scale. Nominal scale is used to calculate gender, faculty, and sources of allowance. Ordinal scale we use for questions like I am a sensible consumer, yes or no. Ratio scale example like every month remain how much money from monthly allowance. Thirdly, we have data analysis technical. It divided into five. Descriptive statistic, ANOVA correlation, regression analysis, reliability test, and normality test. Descriptive statistic is used to summarize demographic data, average allowance, and spending pattern like mean, mode, medians, frequencies, and percentage. ANOVA to assess the difference between the mean of more than two groups. Correlation, a statistic relationship between two variables indicate the extent to which they change together. Regression analysis to assess the predicted range of allowance amount on total amount spent shopping online for independence variable 1, independence variable 3, and dependence variable. Reliability tests to ensure that initial consistent of Likert scale item. Normability tests to classify data into distant category without any inherent order or ranking. Lastly, we have the data collections. We use Google Form for the questionnaire. The period collection will be 1 month and we just simple random sampling for FKP student.
Now let's proceed to our next part, sampling. First, our population is all UMK students, specifically focusing on the Faculty of Entrepreneurship and Business, which is FKP students at UMK campus Kota. Secondly, for our sample size, we aim to survey a sufficient number of FKP students, and this number balances practicality with the need for reliable data. Thirdly, the unit of analysis in our study is the individual students, and each student's responses will be treated as a single data point. Lastly, our sampling technique is simple random sampling. This method ensures every FKP student has an equal chance of being selected, which helps makes our findings generalizable. We will distribute our Google Form through FKP WhatsApp groups and select the initial respondents for our analysis.
Now I will present about 3.4 research analysis. First of this part, I will show the questionnaire. The questionnaire will divide following the research instrument, which is demographic, dependence variable, independence variable 1, independence variable 2, and independence variable 3. There will be some example beside. Secondly, for research analysis, we have three main calculations, which is descriptive statistic, correlations, and simple linear regressions. Descriptive statistic we use to calculate monthly allowance and spending variables mean, medians, and standard deviations. The calculations is used to analyze of variables. ANOVA is a statistical formula used to compare variance across the means or average of the different group. Simple linear regression to evaluate predict power more expenditure as the dependence variable and allowance as the independence variable would allow for simple linear regressions.
My name is Neo Zijia and my metric number is 822802224. Now I would like to share 4.1 practical implications. This study has practical value for four main groups, which is students, parents, institutions, and governments. First, students can benefit from targeted financial literacy programs, many that struggle with managing money, leading to impulsive spending. Schools can introduce workshops or basic budgeting modules to help students allocate their allowance wisely, such as 50% for needs, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings. Students can also use apps like Pocket Guard or using financial education events like My Money and Me by MFPC. Second, parents can use the finding to manage pocket money better. Giving fixed allowances at regular intervals helps students plan their expenses. Discussing budgets together and encouraging part time jobs also builds financial responsibility and helps students value money. Third, institutions should recognize that financial stress affects academic performance. Universities can offer budgeting consultations, peer mentoring programs, and even emergency funds to help students cope. Finally, for governments, this study supports including financial education in school curricula. Right now, Malaysia lacks formal financial education. The government could model programs like Singapore's Money Sense that teaching students money management skills early on. Theoretically, this study supports and explains two main frameworks. The first one, theory of planned behavior (TPB). Students with regular allowance feel more in control, which leads to more responsible spending. This supports TPB's ideas that perceived control influences behavior. Next, consumer behavior theory. It's not just how much money students have that matters. Factors like source and frequency of allowance also influence habits. For example, students who earn part-time income are often more cautious with spending. This research also challenges common assumptions that spending habits depends only on income. In fact, students with irregular or earned allowance show the better discipline. Finally, it opened doors for future research, such as studying financial habits over time or comparing rural and urban students. Overall, the findings offer both academic and practical value, helping improve financial education and policy for students in Malaysia.
That's all our presentation. Thank you.